Hi, I'm Mrs. Burns and welcome to Lesson 5 of our Chapter 5 unit on surface area. And today we will be talking about the surface area of 3D objects called cylinders. So here's a picture of a cylinder. It is basically what you would see around the house, like a soup can or something like that. That has a top and a bottom circle and then a whole around part that can be laid out like a rectangle. And when we lay it out, it becomes a 2D image called a net so that we can calculate the little bits of surface area and add them all together. So what would a net for a cylinder look like? Well, if we cut along or even like those Christmas cookies, the Pillsbury ones that you have to cut the can open, then we would see that we would have a rectangle and two circles on the ends. You could also draw it with the circles here. There are other ways to draw it, so go ahead and try to think of at least one other way that you can explain to me next day in class. So we already know how to calculate area for rectangles and circles, so that area of a rectangle equals length times width, and the area of a circle equals pi r squared. We also know that for a circle, that if you go across the whole middle, that's the diameter, and if you go only from the middle to the side, that's the radius, and that these two are related. Diameter is 2 times the radius, or you could say half the diameter is the radius. And also we can calculate the circumference of a circle, and that is pi times d. So if you were to take your circle and go all the way around it, walk the whole way around, then you would call that the circumference. So again, you could say d as in 2r if you wanted, because they are related in that way. So please make sure you understand how all of these symbols are related. So you're not just memorizing, what do I plug in, do I divide, do I multiply? Don't do that. Make sure that you actually understand, if you were looking at a circle, how do these different values relate to each other? Let's try an example. Here we go. The surface area of a cylinder has a diameter of 0.5 centimeters and a length of 21 centimeters. What is the surface area? Well, we know that we need to find all of the little areas and then add them together to get the total surface area. So we need to find the area of the long rectangle and the area of the little circles, because if we drew a net, it could look like this. So we know that this is 21 here, and the diameter here is 0.5 centimeters. All right. So let's look at the area of the circle first. So the area of a circle equals pi r squared. Do we know the value of r? No, but we do know the value of d. So we know that half of d is equal to r. So let's plug in half of 0.5 is equal to r. So our radius value is 0.25 centimeters. So we can plug that in here. Pi 0.25 squared, so that's just like saying 2.5 times 2.5 times pi, and if we do all that, then we get a value of 0.20 centimeters squared. Now if we were to calculate the area of the rectangle, we know that this is length times width. Do we know both of those values? No, we don't. We don't know what the width is. We only know that the length is 21. So if we want to use the width, we need to find the circumference. So use C for circumference. We know that the circumference equals pi times diameter, and we know that the diameter is 0.5 centimeters. So our circumference should be pi times 0.5, and that value is 1.57 centimeters. Now we can plug this in here. So the length is 21 centimeters and the width is 1.57 centimeters, and if you plug that in, you should get a value of 32.99 centimeters squared. Are we done? No, because we've just figured out the little ones. We need to figure out the total surface area. So the total surface area equals, well, we have one long rectangle plus we have 2 circles. So that equals 32.99 centimeters squared plus 2 times 0.2 centimeters squared. And if we add all of this together, we should get a value of 33.39 centimeters squared. That is our total surface area. Example 2. A cylindrical candy bucket is 28 centimeters high, 18 centimeters in diameter. When there is no top lid, what's the surface area? Show all your thinking. So let's draw it out. If we've got a cylindrical candy bucket, it should look kind of like this. And here's the background. And it is 28 centimeters high, and it has a diameter of 18 centimeters. So if we were to draw this as a net, we could draw it like this, and here's 18 and here's 28, but there's one problem. It says there's no lid. So we're going to take away the top circle because we do not have a lid that we need to be calculating the surface area for. So what is the area of the rectangle? We know that this is length times width. We know that the length is 28, but the width we don't know. We can use the circumference here to figure out what the width is, because the whole bottom of the circle touches all of that width on the bottom of the rectangle, so the circumference of the circle is the same as the width of your rectangle. So this width is the same as the circumference, which is pi times d, and we can plug this in because we know these values. 28 times pi times 18, and this is 28 times 56.5, which gives us a grand total of 1,583.4 centimeters squared. So that's the area of the rectangular portion, the surface area. What is the surface area of just the circle? Well, that is pi r squared. Do we know r? No, we don't, but we know that r is the same as saying half of the d, the diameter. So if we plug this in, we get half of 18 squared. Half of 18 is 9 squared. Pi times 81 gives us 254.5 centimeters squared. Are we done? No. We have not figured out the total surface area. The total surface area equals 1 rectangle plus 2 circles. No! Just 1 circle, because we have no lid. Make sure you read questions like this really carefully. So 1 rectangle plus 1 circle, so 1,583.4 centimeters squared plus 254.5 centimeters squared gives us a large surface area of 1,837.9 centimeters squared. A nice big candy bucket to store all of your candy. Alright, that is how you calculate the surface area of a cylinder. Be prepared to practice this more in class next day.